This morning, before the noise of the world rises, before your responsibilities start pulling at your attention, pause, breathe, and remember this truth. You were never designed to fight every battle on your own. Too many people wake up already tired, not because of what they've done, but because of what they're carrying. Stress, fear, pressure, unanswered questions. You've been trying to solve everything with your own strength, your own wisdom, your own control. But this morning, there is a higher invitation. Release the battle and let God fight for you. Surrendering the battle is not an act of weakness. It is a demonstration of wisdom and spiritual maturity. Many people move through life believing they must solve every problem, fix every situation, and control every outcome. This constant pressure creates anxiety, frustration, and exhaustion. You wake up already burdened, thinking about everything that could go wrong and everything that needs your attention. But the truth is, not every battle you are facing was meant for you to fight. Some things are beyond your ability, your understanding, and your control. And that is exactly where surrender becomes your strength. When you try to carry what God has already taken responsibility for, you end up draining your energy on something that was never assigned to you. You spend your time worrying instead of trusting, striving instead of resting, and forcing instead of allowing. But surrender shifts your perspective. It allows you to release the weight of outcomes and place them into hands that are far more capable than yours. It is not about giving up. It is about giving over. It is choosing to trust that there is a higher power at work, one that sees what you cannot see and knows what you do not know. Real strength is not found in controlling every detail of your life. Control often creates tension because it comes from fear, the fear that things will fall apart if you don't hold everything together. But peace comes from trust. When you surrender, you are not saying that the situation doesn't matter. You are saying that you believe God is greater than the situation. You are acknowledging that His wisdom surpasses your plans and His timing is more precise than your urgency. As you let go, something powerful begins to happen within you. Your mind becomes clearer, your heart becomes lighter, and your spirit becomes stronger. You are no longer consumed by what-if thoughts or overwhelmed by uncertainty. Instead, you begin to walk with a quiet confidence, knowing that even if you don't have all the answers, God does. That confidence produces peace. Not a temporary relief, but a deep, unshakable peace that remains, even when circumstances are still unfolding. Surrender is a daily decision. It requires you to consciously release your worries, your fears, and your need for control again and again. But every time you do, you step into a place of rest that cannot be achieved through human effort. You begin to experience life differently, not as a constant struggle, but as a journey guided by trust. And in that place, you realize something profound. When you stop fighting battles that were never yours, you gain the peace that was always meant for you. Faith is often misunderstood as sitting still and waiting for something to happen. But true faith is active. It is positioning yourself correctly. It is a conscious decision to align your thoughts, your actions, and your direction under God's authority. Many people say they trust God, yet they continue to move based on fear, doubt, or their own limited understanding. That is not faith. That is hesitation disguised as belief. Faith requires movement, but it is not reckless movement. It is guided movement. It is waking up each day and choosing to follow divine direction rather than personal impulse. To position yourself in faith means you recognize that God is not just a helper in your life. He is the leader of it. When you truly trust Him, you stop trying to take control of every outcome and instead focus on obedience. You ask, what is my role in this moment? And then you commit to doing that with consistency and discipline. Faith does not eliminate responsibility, it clarifies it. It shows you what belongs to you and what belongs to God. Your responsibility is to act with integrity, to walk in purpose, and to follow the path placed before you. God's responsibility is to handle the results, open the right doors, and orchestrate what you cannot see. When you are properly positioned, you are no longer reacting emotionally to every situation. Instead, you are responding with clarity and confidence, because you know you are aligned with something greater than yourself. Even when things don't make sense, you remain steady. Even when progress feels slow, you continue moving forward. That is the power of faith. It anchors you in uncertainty and gives you direction in the unknown. Passivity, on the other hand, keeps you stuck. It convinces you to wait without preparation, to hope without action, and to expect results without commitment. But faith does not operate like that. Faith prepares, faith moves, and faith endures. It requires you to take steps even when you don't have the full picture, trusting that clarity will come as you continue forward. It is not about having all the answers before you begin. It is about trusting enough to start. As you align yourself under God's authority, something begins to shift within you. Your decisions become more intentional, your mindset becomes more focused, and your path becomes more defined. You are no longer scattered or uncertain because you are not relying solely on your own understanding. Instead, you are guided, directed, and supported. This kind of faith produces results that go beyond effort. It creates a sense of peace even in motion because you know you are not striving alone. You are walking in alignment. And when you are aligned, every step you take carries purpose. Every decision holds weight. And every moment becomes part of a greater plan unfolding in your life. You're not navigating life on your own, even when it feels like everything is resting on your shoulders. There are moments when challenges seem overwhelming, when answers are unclear, and when progress feels delayed. In those moments, it is easy to believe that you have been left to figure everything out by yourself. But that perception is not reality. The truth is you are backed by divine power, an authority far greater than any obstacle you face. What you see is only a fraction of what is actually happening. While you are focusing on visible circumstances, God is working in places you cannot reach, arranging outcomes you cannot yet understand. Every struggle you encounter is already known. Every difficulty has already been seen from beginning to end. There is nothing catching God by surprise, and there is nothing beyond His ability to handle. When you feel uncertain, it is because your perspective is limited, but His is complete. He sees the connections, the timing, and the opportunities that remain hidden from you. What looks like delay to you may actually be preparation. What feels like a closed door may be protection. And what seems like a setback may be positioning you for something far greater than you expected. Understanding that you are backed by divine power changes the way you approach life. You stop reacting with panic and start responding with confidence. You begin to realize that not every problem requires your stress, because not every solution depends on your effort alone. There is a higher level of support operating in your life that is constant, reliable, and intentional. Even when you cannot see immediate results, things are being aligned in your favor. This does not mean you will never face difficulties. Challenges are part of growth, and they often shape your character and strengthen your resilience. But you face them differently when you know you are not alone. Instead of feeling defeated, you remain steady. Instead of losing hope, you hold on to trust. You understand that there is a process unfolding, and within that process, God is actively working on your behalf. Behind the scenes, doors are being prepared, people are being positioned, and circumstances are being adjusted. You may not always see it in real time, but that does not mean it is not happening. Your role is not to figure out every detail. Your role is to remain faithful, to stay aligned, and to keep moving forward with confidence. When you truly accept that you are backed by divine power, fear begins to lose its grip. You no longer feel the need to control everything because you trust that everything is being handled with precision. You walk with a sense of assurance, knowing that your life is not random or unsupported. And in that assurance, you find strength, the kind of strength that allows you to keep going, to keep believing, and to keep standing, no matter what comes your way. Letting go of control is one of the most challenging decisions a person can make, because control often feels like security. You convince yourself that if you can just manage every detail, anticipate every outcome, and stay ahead of every problem, then you can protect your future. But the reality is, control is an illusion. No matter how much you plan or prepare, there will always be elements beyond your reach. Holding on too tightly does not create stability, it creates pressure. It fills your mind with fear, your heart with anxiety, and your life with unnecessary tension. That is why true confidence does not come from control, it comes from trust. When you release the need to control everything, You create space for peace to enter your life. You stop exhausting yourself trying to force outcomes that are not meant to happen yet. You stop replaying scenarios in your mind, wondering how everything will work out. Instead, you begin to accept that there is a greater order at work that does not rely on your constant intervention. This shift is not about becoming careless or passive. It is about recognizing your limits and trusting God beyond them. It is understanding that your role is to act with wisdom and obedience, but not to carry the weight of every result. Fear thrives in an environment where control is the priority. The more you try to control, the more you become aware of what you cannot control, and that awareness feeds anxiety. But when you choose to release fear, you also release the false responsibility of having to manage everything on your own. You begin to move differently. Your decisions are no longer driven by panic but by clarity. Your actions are no longer rushed but intentional. You walk forward with a steady mindset, knowing that even if you don't have all the answers, you are not without guidance. Confidence grows when you understand that every battle you face is already known by God. Nothing is unexpected, nothing is overlooked, and nothing is beyond His reach. While you are trying to figure things out, He has already seen the outcome. This realization changes your perspective. Instead of striving to make everything happen, you start trusting that what is meant for you will come at the right time and in the right way. You stop forcing doors open and begin to walk through the ones that are already prepared. As you move forward with this mindset, you experience a different kind of strength. It is not loud or aggressive, it is calm and steady. It allows you to face uncertainty without being shaken. It gives you the ability to remain grounded even when situations are still unfolding. You are no longer defined by stress or overwhelmed by pressure because you know you are not carrying the responsibility alone. Letting go of control does not mean losing direction. It means gaining clarity. It allows you to focus on what truly matters while trusting God with what you cannot see. And in that place of trust, you begin to walk with confidence. Not because everything is certain, but because you know you are supported, guided, and secure. As you step into this day, carry this truth with you. You were never meant to fight every battle, control every outcome, or walk this journey alone. There is a greater power at work in your life, guiding, protecting, and preparing the way ahead. When you surrender, align in faith, and release control, you don't lose strength. You gain peace, clarity, and unshakable confidence. This is how you rise above fear and step into purpose. Now make a decision. Don't just hear these words, live them. Start your day with trust. Pause and give your worries to God. Walk forward with intention, knowing you are supported. If this message spoke to you, take a moment right now, pray, reflect, and commit to letting God lead your day. And carry this mindset with you. Today you will not fight alone.